Everybody. Oh, come on. Good evening, everybody. That's right. Good to see all of you. We still have folks who are coming in from the fellowship hall, so they will continue to trickle in, but we don't want to keep you here all night, even though we'd love to. So we're going to get started with tonight's event. My name is Gino Nuzalillo. I work with Common Cause North Carolina, a nonpartisan organization. And on behalf of everybody and everybody you're going to hear tonight, thank you very much for being here. We're going to get started first with Reverend Paylor, who will welcome us here at the Turner's Chapel AME Church. So come on up.
Good evening to everyone. We're so delighted to have you all and open our campus and our facilities to you this afternoon. We want definitely to thank the Common Cause Group and Brother Gino for allowing us to be the host for tonight's encounter. If you should need anything, we are more than welcome to avail ourselves in any part of our facilities to be more accommodating to you. Turner's Chapel, can you raise your hand? If you need anything, these persons with their hand raised will be able to assist you in any way possible. So again, welcome. We're glad to have you, and enjoy yourself. Thank you so much.
And thank you again to Turner's Chapel AME for hosting us. We are going to get started with a little bit of song, if y'all are ready for it, to get us into the move and the groove. So I'm going to invite up the Raging Grannies. You may have heard of them. You're going to hear of them tonight. They're going to get us started here with a few quick songs before we get into tonight's festivities. So come on up. We got 2 microphones for y'all.
All right, we are the Piedmont Raging Grannies. We are a brand new gaggle of Raging Grannies. And there are Raging Grannies groups all over the country. Actually, it's international. It started with some Raging Grannies in Canada. So Beverly will tell us a little bit more about the local group.
Yeah, we're the Piedmont Triad Grannies, and we grannies are raging, and we want you to have this opportunity to rage right along with us. Want to save our planet, clap your hands. If you want to save our planet, clap your hands. It gets warmer every minute, so it's time we all begin it. If you want to save our planet, clap your hands. If you want a greener planet, clap your hands. If you want a greener planet, clap your hands. If you get your power from solar, you can save a bear that's polar. That's a way to save the planet, clap your hands. If you want to save the earth from CO2, if you want to save the earth from CO2, ride to work on your bicycle, cut your grass down to a trickle. There are lots of other things that we can do. If you want a greener planet, clap your hands. If you want a cleaner planet, clap your hands. If you want to save the planet and respect all creatures on it, climate justice must be part of all our plans. So let's tell our reps to finally take a stand. A healthy home is what we all demand. It's effective and it's needed. It is why we all have pleaded. Save the planet, save all people. Take a stand. Is a thief. Where is our liberty, justice for all? We used to feel such pride, now there's a big divide. All reason has cast aside, we are in a brawl. Our justice can be found if we find common ground, we all belong. Our cause is liberty, freedom for you and me. Come join us in a harmony as we sing this song.
Give that one more time for the Raging Grannies. Thank you, everybody. All righty. So now that our blood is pumping and we are getting ready to start this event, we want to kind of introduce a little bit why we are here, why we are hosting a nonpartisan town hall that we call Unite North Carolina. And before we get started, I want to make sure that we acknowledge community leaders who are in the room, because there are many of you that are here. So if you are a local office holder, city council, maybe you are the president of a community organization, please take a moment to stand up now and we'll recognize you. Look at that. Okay. Thank you for being here. I know we have one person from the school board who's going to have a brief announcement for us, and we'll get here up in just a moment. If you are a member of the clergy, we'd also like to recognize you now, so please stand up if you are a member of the clergy. I see some people are pulling double duty. You're both an elected office holder and a member of the clergy. And if you are a state lawmaker, I wonder who that could be. Please take a moment now to stand. We'd like to recognize you for being here as well. And you'll get a chance to hear from our state lawmaker, Senator Michael Garrett, and Representative Cecil Brockman here at the end, but we thank them for being here. We also wanted to let you all know, since this is a town hall devoted to state policy issues and what's happening in the General Assembly, Representative Amos Quick could not be here due to wisdom teeth surgery, which I do not blame him. And Representative John Faircloth was also unable to attend tonight. So we've got two folks here who are going to be hearing what you have to say. So thank you all for being here, and we appreciate not only Turner's Chapel AME for hosting us, but the High Point NAACP branch for spreading the word, and everybody who is here tonight. So why we are here is because the 2023 legislative session in the North Carolina General Assembly began just about 200 days ago, January 11th, 2023. And there has been a number of things, I'm sure for anyone who's paid attention to what's happened in Raleigh, that's going to dramatically change our lives moving forward. Is that right? I think that's right. I hear it in the crowd. So I want to ask y'all a few questions just to take a pulse of the room. Raise your hand in here if you want good quality health care. Okay, wow, we're unanimous. Can you believe it, Ann? We're unanimous. Raise your hand if you want clean air to breathe and safe water to drink. Okay, nobody's opposed to that. Raise your hand if you want your tax dollars being invested back into your community. That's right. Raise your hand if you want excellent public schools for your children. Okay, yeah, that's right. That's right. Raise your hand if you want a genuine voice in your community and your representatives and the policies that get passed in Raleigh. That's exactly right. Well, I'm here to tell you that a lot of what's happened in the General Assembly this year has not furthered those goals. So that is what we are here for tonight, because one thing that just illuminated for all of y'all in the room is that there is a lot more that we agree on than we disagree on, right? And for most North Carolinians, those issues are broadly popular. So why aren't they happening in Raleigh? Well, so what has happened in Raleigh? Sorry. There's a number of issues. We're not going to get to all of them right now. You're going to hear from some other people tonight who will tell you a little bit more about them. But we have bills like Senate Bill 747, 749, and 772. Have y'all heard of them? Raise your hand. You've heard of those bills. These are elections bills that make dramatic changes to how we run elections, make it harder to use same-day registration. We got a little more music. That eliminate the period that your mail-in ballot can come, right? That make it easier for partisan poll observers to move around in the voting booth. How many of y'all want someone looking over your shoulder as you're casting a ballot? No, this is the one thing no one raised their hand for. That's right. Because nobody wants that, and that is a proposal in the General Assembly. How many of y'all have heard about the bill to siphon public funds away to charter and private schools from public schools? That's right. That, let me make sure I've got that right, is HB 823. Do I have that correct, my state lawmakers here? HB 823. That estimates that public schools could lose up to $200 million annually under this bill that's proposed that takes money away from public schools and trends toward private and charter schools. All of y'all wanted good, adequate education and good public schools for your kids. So that's another thing that's being considered in the General Assembly right now. Now, who among you are following the budget? Who likes to talk about the budget? I see some hands. No one likes to talk about it, but it's important to us, right? Because under the plan that's being proposed in the North Carolina State Senate right now, tax cuts that will primarily go to benefit the richest 20% of North Carolinians will cut our revenue publicly by $7.6 billion annually. $7.6 billion. I got worried because I had spent like $15 on Chipotle earlier this year. Right, this is an outrageous sum of money. Now, how much would it cost, I want someone to guess, to end hunger in North Carolina each year? Someone guess. $500 million. Any other guesses? 300,000. According to our friends at the Budget and Tax Center, which you've got resources in that room tonight to tell you about it, it would cost us $775 million each year to end hunger in North Carolina. And the budget that's being proposed is going to deprive our state of $7.6 billion. How many of y'all were talking about wanting tax dollars reinvested in your community? Does that sound like it's being reinvested when people go hungry in this state? Absolutely not. And so again, these are broadly popular, unpopular things we're talking about, but the solutions are broadly popular. So in part, why are these not the norm in Raleigh? It's in part because of how the districts are drawn, and it's in part about our access to the ballot box. Now, we are in the triad right now, right? And what is the triad known for in North Carolina when it comes to drawing our voting maps? Gerrymandering. Say it one more time. Gerrymandering. That's right. Because when they go to redraw maps and they go to do so for their own political gain, this region of the state is one of the first places they go. They carve it up every time. Even though in 2021, many of you told the General Assembly that you wanted the triad kept together in your congressional district, and the first map they drew did not do that. I wonder why. So, that is just a sampling of what we are here to talk to you about tonight. But we mostly want to hear from you. Now, I know it is a little hard to get up and speak in front of a bunch of people, but we are going to ask you tonight to think about coming up and sharing your testimony about these issues, why they matter to you, and the perspective that you have to share with everybody else who's here. Now, this is a couple ground rules for this event. This is a nonpartisan event, so we ask that you speak from personal experience about the policy issues that matter. If you are a candidate for office or an office holder, we will not, of course, bar you from speaking, but we ask that you be here in your elected capacity and speak about issues that matter to you. Each individual will get 2 minutes to speak. Ann Webb, if you'd stand up really quick, we'll have a little sheet that will tell you to stop, because I know y'all love to talk and I want to hear you talk, but we want to make sure everyone gets a chance to talk. So remember, this is a nonpartisan event, 2 minutes to speak. And after you hear from some of the partners who have brought this event together tonight, it will be your turn. So if you've got something, if the Spirit moves you, and you want to say something tonight, we want to make sure that you get the chance to do so. Finally, at the end, we do have some of your state representatives here. We are very grateful for them for being here. And we want to give them a chance, a few minutes each at the end, to speak about what they've heard from you tonight and answer any questions you have as well. So final thing, each of you got a bunch of cards when you came in, right? All right, I want you to hold up the white card, the white index card. All right, the white index card, that's where you will write your questions. Now, this man in the back, Tyler Day. Tyler, raise your hand. He's going to have the gray magic box of mystery. If you've got questions during the event, you're going to find Tyler, and he's going to come around and let you drop those in the box, okay? There's also one card that's a voter pledge card for you to take home. There's an additional card that asks you, if you want to share which issues are most important to you. And finally, there is a card that asks you to write a few sentences, if you want, about what you want the future of North Carolina to look like. Now, the reason I close with that is because when we do this town hall tour all across the state, y'all are the third stop in what's going to be a 20-plus county tour. Your friends, yeah, that's right, look at a little woohoo to that. Because there are North Carolinians all across this state who care about the same things you all just voiced tonight. In Mint Hill, they talked about reproductive health care. In Moore County, they talked about public schools. And I can't wait to see what High Point talks about tonight, but the reminder is that there are people all across this state who want to be part of this movement for a new and a better future in North Carolina. So whether you share your opinions here or you write it on the card, we'd really like to hear from you. So with that, we're going to invite a few folks up to speak tonight to tell you a little bit about their organization and the issues that they work on. And if I've got my crumpled piece of paper here, we will get started in just a moment. And so with that, I want to invite up first Advance Carolina and the North Carolina Black Alliance to tell you a little bit about their organization. So come on up, y'all. Give them a round of applause.
Now, Gino did not tell us we were going first, but it's okay. Hey, everybody, how y'all doing tonight? So first of all, my name is Lamar Bryan. This is my coworker here, Amber. We are from North Carolina Black Alliance and Advance Carolina. I'm pretty sure you all have heard of us, I hope. We call ourselves like the who's who are the plug of North Carolina. So when you go to the back, you'll see a lot of the things that we have for you. But first, before we get started into Amber's piece, I would like to say since July, well, the start of July, marked 400 mass shootings in the country. So we'll just sit with that a little bit. At North Carolina Black Alliance, we're a C3 organization, and Advanced Carolina is a C4. But our main goal is building black political power in North Carolina. And I appreciate us for doing this Unite tour. And I'm pretty sure you all have heard that there is no I in team. But if my undergrad and my master's serves me correctly, there's not an I in democracy either. And so the reason why I say that is because we can't do this alone. We can't do this by ourselves. It can't be 1 to 2 people. Every weekend, every other weekend, we have to come together and unite. And how we do that is by a lot of the programming that we have at North Carolina Black Alliance and Advanced Carolina. North Carolina Black Alliance is big on political effectiveness and accountability, healthcare and wellness, crime and justice, and affordable housing. And we do that by creating programs to ensure that, first of all, you're safe, to ensure that you have the resources that you need to be successful in your everyday life. Because at the end of the day, when you wake up in the morning, you should have lights to turn on. You should have clean water to drink. And you should be able to look at your family and say, I've done it well, and I'm able to live well, and we're able to do that because of the resources that we have. And North Carolina Black Alliance and Advanced Carolina has done that. So I'll say it again. There has been 400 mass shootings in just July from January, and we're not even finished with the year yet. And so as a black man, it's important to me to make sure that my black community has the resources we need, but we can't do this by ourselves. And I'll add to that, if we're in church, and I want to add a little bit of church too, because I know how we get about things like that, but I would say if you love your neighbor, you will love and appreciate and understand the turmoil that your neighbor goes through on a daily basis. And so I'll pass that to my coworker, Amber.
Thank you, Lamar. It's hard to follow that, but my name's Amber Rivero again, so I'm the Triad Regional Coordinator for Advanced Carolina, and I have our county lead, April Parker, for Guilford County here, so I hope that you can connect with all of us after this in the other room where our tables are at and some of our literature. But the 501c4, which is Advanced Carolina, is the political arm or the political extension of North Carolina Black Alliance. And so while we work on all the program, policy, and issues on the North Carolina Black Alliance side, we're a Black-led, Black-centered, and Black-focused political organization that's statewide. And so locally in Guilford County, Forsyth, and Alamance, myself and my county leads will be meeting with all the members in the community that already do this work, that love to do this, volunteer for this, elected officials, folks that care about who's running for office or who remains in office, and just trying to strategize around the municipal elections coming up, 2024 governor elections, statewide elections, and the presidential elections that are coming up. So we know that without representation, we don't always have the power, and our voice is not represented the way we need it to, and that's why we exist. So we're excited to be here with our partners. Thank you so much for Common Cause and everybody else in the room that brought this together. And we'll also be in Gibsonville on August 8th in Guilford County, and we look forward to meeting you in the back. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, friends. You're going to learn about other organizations tonight, and make sure you grab their literature as well. There's so much good stuff about voter ID that we're going to have to show at the polls and other aspects of our election access. I see someone shaking their hands in the back there. Next, we're going to have a representative of North Carolina Voters for Clean Elections to talk a little bit about democracy issues in the state. So come on up, Melissa.
Hey, y'all. My name is Melissa Price Crom, and I'm the director of the North Carolina Voters for Clean Elections. We're the pro-democracy coalition here in North Carolina. So today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the Blueprint for a Stronger Democracy policy report. We've been working on this for about 5 years, gathering the best policy ideas from people like you and putting it into a nice little report to give to our legislators to file legislation. Now, some people might ask me, why are you doing this, Melissa? Well, you know, we do need to look at different ways in which we can build a stronger democracy. I moonlight as a soccer coach, and I always say a good defense is because of a good offense. So, you know, we've got to have these ideas. We've got to put them out there. We've got to ask our community members what ideas they think are best. This report covers everything from improving voter registration and list maintenance to ensuring voting access and protecting our voting rights, to strengthening local election infrastructure, to defending against election subversion. These tactics came to us after the 2020 election, to promoting fair redistricting and equal representation, to heightening transparency and combating corruption. This is money in politics, campaign finance reform. And lastly, to ensure fair and impartial courts. And we're still taking great ideas from people like you. I can tell you my own story. When I started this job like 10 years ago, I got a herniated disc looking over campaign finance reports because back then people hand wrote them and just sent them in. And we came up with this crazy idea to do electronic campaign finance disclosure. I was quite literally in the hospital with my herniated disc, and my good friend Bob Phillips over here got my bill passed on the floor. So you never know where a good idea might come from. So thank you guys. My name is Melissa Price Crom, North Carolina Voters for Clean Elections. You can access this report at ncforthepeople.com, and there's copies in the back. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. As y'all couldn't tell, this is the warm-up. This is giving you the time to think about what you want to say. So we are getting closer to that period. We just got a couple more folks you're going to hear from. I'm going to invite Red, Wine, and Blue up to talk about their efforts as well. So come on up, Angela. The great little awkward pause as everyone waits for someone to come up. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angela Levine. I'm a regional organizer for Red, Wine, and Blue here in North Carolina. And yes, I did say wine, not white, wine. Red, Wine, and Blue is a 501c3, C4 nonpartisan organization that is led by women. And it's focused on engaging, inspiring, and amplifying the voices of the diversity of suburban women across the country. And we have over 500,000 women in our network nationwide and about 20,000 here in North Carolina so far. And we really focus on education. We educate women that they do actually have political power. And we train them to use their political power to elect common sense candidates who share their values and will protect their rights. And then we equip them on how to do advocacy to hold these elected officials accountable after they're in office. And our organization uses digital media to fight mis- and disinformation and all forms of extremism. And we're really training women across this country to do something we like to call friend-to-friend organizing or relational organizing. You may have heard of it, which is really just a way of having conversations around the issues they care about to bring family, friends, neighbors, coworkers to the polls to participate in elections and to be a part of advocacy work. And we actually have on-the-ground staff in 5 different states right now: North Carolina, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Michigan. And while we are fighting all forms of extremism, some of the key issues that we push back on are abortion bans, anti-CRT bills against Black history, discrimination against the LGBTQ plus community, anti-gun safety bills, and of course, all the efforts to attack or destroy or weaken public education. So the women in our network are fierce. We've got one of them here tonight that is somewhere out there that I know. I know a lot of them. Collectively, we call ourselves troublemakers. That's what we're out here doing, making trouble for good. And I welcome everyone to stop by my table and learn more about us. And that's and our website is redwine.blue. Thank you.
I'd like to call up now Ms. Bernita Sims with the High Point NAACP. Where are you, my friend? Come on up. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. I am here speaking on behalf of our illustrious president. She is right now attending the National NAACP convention in Boston. But since we're on the special thanks to, we decided that we needed to have a conversation with you all around the efforts that our organization plans to do to get individuals registered to vote. We know that there are some things that are going on in our state that are designed to prevent people from being able to cast their votes. So our plan is to work diligently and hard to make sure that individuals have the appropriate documentation so that they can vote, and so that when we go to the polls in the fall, particularly because we have a municipal election that we're doing in our community, we want to make sure that people are ready to vote, they have what's necessary, and nobody gets turned away from the polls. So that's our goal. We're going to partner with anybody and whoever can help us achieve that goal, because we know this is the dust up to what's going to happen in 2 years. And we know that they're not done in Raleigh trying to figure out how to suppress the vote. We understand that. And so it is important that everybody in this room take time to look at what you can do, how you can contribute, get out, knock doors, call people, call your friends, call your family in particular, everybody that you know, to make sure that we're ready to cast that vote when the time comes. So I am so glad to see you all here, knowing that I think we're all on the same page. I'm going to claim we're all on the same page in the name of Turner's Chapel, okay? So we're all sitting here in this sanctuary, and we know that God can do a lot of things for us if we just pray and ask for that. So we have to come together and make this thing happen. It's also important that we make sure that we turn this story around. And the story right now is not a good story. But I'm a firm believer that if you pray for things and you ask for things, God will answer that prayer. But we got to put the work in. And so tonight, I'm glad that you're all here. We intend to do that work. We intend to be engaged and involved. And anything that we can do to help any of you that are out here doing this work, by all means, let us know. Thank you for allowing me to speak, and thank you for being here.
All right. Who's ready to hear from all of you? Ready? I see some smiles in the crowd. We're going to get to y'all next. So a reminder, thank you to everyone who spoke. All of us are united, and we want all of you to vote, regardless of how you vote. And we want to hear from everyone who's here tonight. Everyone who's here, regardless of what you have to say, will get a chance to say it, and you'll get 2 minutes just like everybody else. You will look to Ann Webb to cut you off when you are at 2 minutes. And again, we ask you two things. What do you want your state lawmaker to know that you're here to speak on tonight? Your perspective on the issues, and what you want for the future of North Carolina, if that's an easier question to answer. So we've got a few folks who signed up to speak already. This is now the period where we're going to welcome folks up to share their opinion in true good old town hall fashion. So I've got Larry Kerwin first. Come on up, sir. And one other reminder, remember that this is a nonpartisan space, y'all, so we're focusing on issues and all that good stuff. Come on up, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all very much. I will try my best to honor that request. So I'll just start by speaking from my heart. And as you see, I've prepared something, but I think it would be an insult to not try to speak from my heart first. You know, things are getting more and more contentious out there. It's harder and harder to have talks with people about politics without them demonizing you, without them making you feel either you're un-American or you're, you know, whatever they want to accuse you of. And it was just getting a bit to me, and I never felt like I really fit in with either political party, major political party. So somebody had mentioned this fledgling party, this upstart party, the Forward Party, and they're basically about a lot of the things that I'm hearing here tonight. Let's start with free people and access to, equal access to voting, thriving communities. Thank you very much. You know, it's something that's really good economics, a vibrant democracy, which involves some voter reforms like ranked choice voting, so third-party candidates aren't spoilers, or getting rid of gerrymandering and having commissions that decide what the districts are going to look like, and it doesn't favor one party over the other. In short, then, this party is something that wants to work with both sides of the aisle. Anyone who's willing to work for practical, common-sense solutions would be welcome. I'm here tonight. I'm a member of a work group that's trying to get us on the ballot. And yeah, we have a petition to sign to do that. And if you're interested, I invite you to just talk to me afterwards and let us offer you an alternative. But thank you very much, and I'm going to turn it back over.
Thank you very much, sir. Next, we're going to call up Phyllis Russell, who has signed up to speak next. Come on up.
Hey, y'all. I am a board member of Common Cause, but I just moved, I can't say just, I moved to North Carolina from Michigan, from Detroit in 2017. And Michigan, what up, though? What up, though, player? What up? And if he could tell you, Michigan ain't nothing but Mississippi North. So when you got down, it is. Detroit, everybody cousins in Detroit. You see Eminem eating a coney dog. They don't mean nothing. But once I moved down here, I used to work for the legislature in Michigan, and moved down here to work for Forsyth County. I'm going to North Carolina. And then I ended up in, gerrymandering hell, because I go from Mississippi down to gerrymandering. Okay. So that was a little different, because I thought I was going to come down here in the South and everything was going to be chill and everything was going to, other than, I got my CCW too. Hey, I was good. But what I'm noticing, because now I work for the city of Durham, and at the state level, many of you kind of know what's about to happen in many of the major cities. They're about to do revals. Revals are when the cities and the counties start finding out how much money they can pull from you, saying this is how much the county is worth, this is how much the city is worth. What do I want the future of North Carolina to look like? Not homelessness, because what is about to happen is when they reval according to what the market says, everybody's rent and mortgages is about to jump exponentially. By me I live here in Greensboro. I got out of Forsyth, Winston-Salem, because, I need to be in a big city. So I moved to Greensboro. But working for Durham has not done a reval, I think, since 2018. Durham has done a lot of development. So if you've been seeing all these cranes in your city and in the county and stuff, that is extra money for those local places. Now, the law says that they have to do a reval. The law doesn't say that they have to raise taxes. But they are going to raise taxes. And when they do that, all your taxes are going to go up, and your rent's going to go up, and all your mortgages are going to go up, and many people will not be able to afford to live where they are living. Things that you took for granted are not going to be as solid. Y'all remember a few years ago, and we in the church, I can't say it, but that dude in New York was running for mayor, and he was like, the rent is too high, but he was, helping it out. That is what is about to happen here. I am not, and this is not like you being no extra. This is about to happen where homelessness in the state of North Carolina is about to be a very real thing for a lot of people. You're going to quickly find out that what divides us, that's going to dissipate, because pretty soon it's going to be you think food prices is high, you think clothes and gas is high. Wait until this reval wave comes across. Because what happens is when one city does it, another city does it. Oh, if Forsyth did it, then Guilford can do it. Then Wake does it. Then Rockingham does it. We have to, at the local level, put the pressure on folk to say, yeah, you can do it, but you don't have to do it. Because homelessness is about to be very, very real here in the state of North Carolina. And the future that I don't want to see is folk just sprawled out on the street, of folks just, kind of looking like, I don't want to say baby Detroit, because Michigan has gone through this. And I've seen this wave show up down here. And I think we need to be conscious of the fact that this is a very real threat because of those we have put in office who are living good and eating chicken sandwiches every week, but they don't care that we're not able to. All right? Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, Phyllis. Up next, I've got Paula Templeton. Paula Templeton, are you in the room? What was that? She's eating in the back. Oh, she's in the back. All right. When she's finished eating, we'll come back in. Folks, I want to open it up. I'm looking through still the sign-up sheets for those who have signed up, but if you are interested, are you coming up? Oh, no, it's okay. If you are interested in speaking, y'all, now is your time. And so, come on through. Please do. Come on up. And please introduce yourself when you come on through.
Hi, y'all. I was in the hall trying to write it all down so I get the system right, but since he just opened it up, even better. My name's Terrell Dungy. I'm a steering committee member with Guilford for All. We're a grassroots organization trying to build a new political majority of working class, everyday people in Guilford County. Before that, I was just a pizza delivery driver. And before that, I was just someone who did the system. I went to school, got a degree. I got out into the real world, and there was nothing for me. So through my work in community organizing, I learned that the reason that is because we have a lot of people who look to run, because I'm trying to say really bipartisan, to represent us, but they do all the work to get our votes, and then they disappear. And then I'm learning, because we allow them to disappear, there's so many things that happen that they are not held accountable by us about. I think a lot, sorry man, Cecil Brockman and the vote around gun reform. We just talked during the wait time before this, where you told me you thought it was a done deal and you thought it was okay to miss that vote. That has not been my experience in the community. So my question that's kind of going to be posed to y'all down the road is you shared that you learned some lessons from that. So what were those lessons, and how do they relate to how you be in community with the people who work to elect you to that office? And how do you make sure when you are there legislating that you are making sure you are bringing people into that room, into that table, that you get their consensus before you say something is a done deal? Because how do you remain centered in the fact that you're not representing one, but your many constituents that brought you into that office? Same for anyone who's working in office that might be answering questions. I'm still not sure who's doing that, but yeah, appreciate it.
All right. Because the question was posed directly, and want to be able to have y'all, before we get lost in what everybody else wants to say, we want to give Representative Brockman a moment to respond to that question. So please take the time now, sir.
Thank you. I'd like to first thank everybody for being here. I'm more than welcome to talk to anybody individually after. I'll wait as long as I can to talk to folks. The first thing I will say is I did not just say I just missed the vote. I said I was sick. I went to the urgent care. I would not have missed the vote if I was not thoroughly sick. And the reason why I went to the urgent care and I felt confident about going to the urgent care because I was sick is because the rumors going around was that the vote was going to happen, that they were going to overturn the veto. And so I put my health in front of that. And if you want to be mad at me because of that, I resent anybody trying to use that politically against me. And I also resent the fact that folks are doing that. Like, it just angers me to my core because I was sick. I know my body, and I know the fact that I would have been there. I voted against it the first time, and I would have voted against it the second time. And I hope folks don't try to use that politically against me. That's all I will say about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Brockman. You'll also receive a chance to speak at the end, as same in the schedule as well. Is Paula Templeton back? You would like to speak next, sir? Okay, we will wait to see if Paula Templeton emerges, but you would like to go next, sir? Come on up. Is that telling us we gotta go? I don't know what that is. Come on up, sir.
What a great turnout. I'm so proud of all of you. I'm former Representative Marcus Brandon, and I am now Executive Director of Carolina Can, where we do education policy, and we try to make sure that all of our kids have a high quality education regardless of their zip code. So I, as a former legislator, can come and explain to you that, what I would like to see out of this group. It is really good to deal with, Gladys Robinson, Senator Robinson, who missed 4 votes, 4 veto votes, or some of the others. But really what you guys can help with is that all of this energy, if everybody went out and knocked on doors, we wouldn't be in a position where you only have one person that can miss. This is basically our fault. We continue to go through cycle after cycle after cycle of losing everything that we can lose and come back and say, this is all of these, you only see the face that you see as that's the fault. But really, it's really the voters. If we didn't have a supermajority, 7 people voted for that bill that you're upset about, 7 Democrats. And so whenever you have a situation where you have a supermajority, this is the group that I want to see. This is the things that Representative Brockman and Senator Garrett, they need your help so we don't have to be in a supermajority dealing with things that come down your throat and saying, okay, I remember when we had a senator that was laying on the floor of cancer. So he couldn't miss a vote. And he had to go to the hospital and he missed a vote. But that's what happens when we don't do what we need to do and make sure we go out there and take the energy to go knock on doors so we're not in a position where we're in the supermajority and they win every single election that they can win. So let's take this energy, knock on doors, and let's make sure that Democrats can be in control and then you don't have to worry about what type of vetoes are coming down. Thank you.
Thank y'all, and I do appreciate the comments, sir. I will remind folks we are here in a nonpartisan space, so just a little bit of a reminder for everybody. We're very important to us, and I'm so sorry. I apologize. and I'm going to butcher your first name, sir, Cyril Jefferson signed up to speak tonight. Cyril, so sorry, signed up to speak tonight. So you are up next, sir. I'm so sorry, y'all.
As Reverend Frank Thomas said, it's like the breakfast food, but with a southern drawl to it. Cereal. There you go, cereal. How are y'all doing? It's so good to see everyone. I'm excited to be here for this Common Cause Unite NC Town Hall, and appreciate all the sponsors and partners who put this together. I serve on High Point City Council. I represent our first ward, and I'm currently seeking your vote to run for mayor. I know this is nonpartisan, and our race is nonpartisan, so I can say I'm seeking your vote to run for mayor. Whether you're Democrat, Republican, unaffiliated, Green, Libertine, and all things in between, I want your vote. So I'm thinking about our economy, and I'm thinking about the issues that folks are facing, and I'm thinking about the way we traditionally do economic development. And I'm thinking about the fact that so many of our dollars go towards attracting major corporations to come here and bring jobs. And from what I understand, I'm in this education policy fellowship with the Hunt Institute, and one of the representatives who came to speak talked about this zero tax idea they have for corporate tax, because they want to be really business friendly to really big corporations. And I get that and understand that. I think for me, what I want to use this platform for is recognizing the power of economic development when we choose to invest in small businesses, because small businesses make up the majority of our workforce. And here in High Point, we've been making those kinds of investments, doubling down with millions of dollars to do that. I'm looking at some folks in the room, such as Reverend Thomas and Mayor Bernita Sims, Michael Holmes, and Tyrone Johnson, who were a part of those efforts with us, as well as Cecil Brockman, who got us $1 million from the state budget to be able to create Thrive High Point. That's been engaging 500 plus entrepreneurs. And we've got a Thrive 2.0 that's coming that I'm not supposed to let the cat out the bag, but we're going to be supporting small businesses to get into the first brick and mortars and revitalize a depressed part of our city that when that time comes, will restore a legacy that so many people know here in High Point. And when that comes, we want to be able to celebrate that and shout that from the mountaintop. And so want to say shout out to our state reps who are endorsing and doing that good work for small businesses, and hope that we can continue to elevate that as an critical issue for economic development. Thank y'all.
I'm going to try one more time. Paula Templeton, are you here? She came, she ate, she conquered, and she left. So I can't say I wouldn't do the same. So we've exhausted the list of folks. Yes, come on up, sir. Come on up. And then I saw someone else raise their hand over here. Okay, next, and then you. We'll make sure everybody. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, everyone. I'm Frank Thomas, pastor of Mount Zion Baptist Church on Washington Street. And I couldn't come to church and not say something. Pastor, good to see you, and thank you for sponsoring today's event. Yeah, we're nonpartisan, but we are in church. The Bible I read says, if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray, seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, forgive their sin, and heal their land. I believe everybody in the room wants the land healed. That's what I want for North Carolina. That's what I want for our entire nation. I'm really sick and tired of being sick and tired, in the words of Fannie Lou Hamer. But what troubles me is that we use religion and the Bible to divide us more than we do to galvanize us and bring us together. If you cut me, I bleed red. If I cut you, you bleed red. It's an if-then proposition. God is talking to his people. If my people, who are called by my name, would humble themselves and pray, seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways. We like praying. We like seeking his face. I'm not quite sure that we all have embraced turning from our wicked ways. I believe we all have some turning to do. And if we all turn, then God says he will heal our land.
I cannot follow that, so I will not try to. I see you next, and then you as well, and then did I miss anybody on this side? We'll get to you next. All right, beautiful.
Hold on, I better read the letter that they edited, because mine was, as they called it, oh, sorry. Wow, that's a first. Hi, my name is Jane Kramer, and I'm from High Point, North Carolina, which is going to have an election in November for the mayor and there are Republicans and Democrats running. But there's an election in November that's really, really, really important. So any help you'd like to offer, please do so. There's the mayor and the city council seats, and this is absolutely critical because depending upon what happens, the reparations to the people, the descendants of slaves, the African American people of High Point, it may all come to nothing if certain people don't get elected. Okay, I'd just like to read a letter that I sent to the Charlotte Observer back in 2021 after Phil Berger said that they were going to approve Medicaid. It's short. Hold on. Here it is. Wait, see more. Okay. They told me they were going to publish it. Will Phil Berger's Medicaid tease be the GOP's bone for taking away the voting rights of every North Carolinian for the next 10 years? When you combine the effects of their slash and burn redistricting with their dark money primary coups, the GOP has disenfranchised the entire North Carolina electorate. Everyone in the state should be screaming for an independent commission from a non-North Carolina office of one of the major consulting firms to audit the registered voter census data, audit the redistricting program, and to draw equitable maps. About 31% of North Carolina's registered voters are Republican. Now it's 36. 68% are not. Tell the GOP to let the people of North Carolina to decide who governs us. And about Berger's Medicaid tease, I'm not falling for it. And where are we now? So vote for whoever you like, but you know what? I don't see this ever coming to pass because Medicaid is going to be dead in the water because that 10 years of money is gone.
Hi, I'm Francie Portnoy. I'd like to ask a question first. How many people here believe that climate change is real? Okay. All right, the big majority here. Do you know that our government has been preparing the armed forces to handle the effects of climate change for 30 to 40 years now? How long have they been working to prepare you? We're hearing more and more about climate change and the effects on the weather and climate crises now on the news, but we're not getting any information about what we can do as individuals, as families, and as communities to get prepared for all the changes that are coming our way. And they're coming. We're already seeing increases in insurance in many states, and it's going to hit us too. Your taxes are going to go up. There's no change. There's no reason why they're not, because governments are going to have to finance the disasters. Food prices are going to go up. Everything. So I think it's time that we push our legislators, our government, to help us prepare emotionally and environmentally and find out what are they going to do for us as individuals and as communities when all these changes start to come and really hit us hard.
Thanks, y'all. We will keep it moving. We got him, and then we'll go to you, sir. And also, just a reminder, too, a lot of folks feel the same way in here. If you're someone who disagrees or feels differently, I know it can be hard to get up and say something that goes against the grain. This is also a space for you, too, so feel free to make that possible. Now, come on up.
Good evening. My name is Jason Hicks. I do a lot of political research, and I sat over there and I tried to keep my seat, but I think it's telling that, and again, this is partisan for sure, but whenever I came in, everybody raised their hands and said they supported public schools and that they wanted funding for public schools. But I think it's telling that Marcus Brandon would come up here to defend yourself, Cecil Brockman, whenever just 2 weeks ago you voted for the charter school omnibus, which puts funding directly to charter schools. And it's not an attack, it's just a point of information. Because I think that public schools are important. I'm a product of public schools, and I appreciate. My daughter goes to Southwest, and I very much appreciate what's going on there. So that's all.
Thank you. Glad to respond again. This, to correct the record, charter schools are public schools. I hate the fact that people keep pitting public schools against public schools. Charter schools are public schools. Let's stop. What the problem is the pie is too small. We need to increase the pie and actually fund public schools, all of them. Thank you.
If you've got something to say in response to everything that's happening, you'll get your chance, I promise.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Councilman Michael Holmes, representative of Ward 6, which is Turner's Chapel. Thank you all for being here tonight. The one thing that I want to talk about, and since we're on this, we're going to church tonight and we're quoting Fannie Lou Hamer, I wanted to make sure that we understand about what apathy does. Fannie Lou Hamer said you can pray without ceasing, but once you get up off your knees, you will still be in your mess. So what I'm going to tell you is, in 2019, Ward 6, which is the ward that we're in right now, 20,000 people, roughly 19,000 voters. We had an 8% turnout. Now, fortunately, I was on the winning end of that by a single vote. But here's the thing that my mama always told me, God rest her soul, is that if you don't make things happen for you, things will happen to you. And so what I'm going to say to you is, don't keep letting things happen to you. So this is an extremely important election that we have coming up. And so as we come out, we want to make sure, and this is where good scripture comes in, that we don't get weary in well-doing. Because in due season, if we do not faint, we will receive our reward. Don't let things keep happening to you when you have the power to affect the outcomes that control your lives. Come out in November. Thank you.
Alrighty. As Sailor Jones likes to say, we are heading into the short mows, my friend. So if you've got something you want to say to your state lawmakers or something you want to say about the future of North Carolina, now is your time. Is there anybody who wants to speak? I see you next. Was there anyone on this side? Ms. Mitzi. All right, we'll get you next.
Good evening. I'm Carolyn Bunker, and I'm with the Board of Elections here in Guilford County. I'm starting my third term, and I wanted to thank Michael for what he said. Voter turnout traditionally is very, very, very low during city council, city mayoral and council elections. And in 2019, he's absolutely right. 8% of the voters in Guilford County or in High Point turned out. So please, please, please make sure that you come, you bring your neighbor, you bring your friend, you bring the guy at the grocery store you just met. Honestly, now one good thing that we saw in 2021 when Greensboro had their city election. I was sitting next to one of my partners at the Board of Election who is of the other party, and she said, it's going to be 8%. We're not going to make it. You know, if we get 10%, that's just phenomenal. We came up with 18% in Greensboro. So we should definitely be able to come up with at least that. It would be phenomenal if we came up with 30 or 40%. And we need that. All politics is local. Anytime that you have a bump in the road or a light that's not working or your city taxes you think are a little bit too high or whatever, it's important to have your voice. And one thing that I'm going to ask, most of you probably already know how to do this, but tonight or sometime in the near future, go to the Guilford County Board of Elections, then look for voter search tool or voter registration information, and make sure, fill in that information. It's all private. We don't know that you're coming to look, but go in and check. Make sure that you are listed as an active voter. And if you're not, then call the Board of Elections and find out what you need to do. And if you have we're still going through a lot of new voter laws. Some of them have been passed, some of them haven't. They're going to be very disruptive this year. So come to the polls prepared with your voter. If you have your driver's license and a passport, bring both of them. Bring whatever you have, okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bunker, and thank you to the Guilford County Board of Elections. Can we get another round of applause for our election workers? Now, as Ms. Mitzi Turner comes up, just want to ask you a quick question because elections are coming up. How many of you have a photo ID? Amazing, because you know you're going to have to show it to vote this year, correct? That's right. That's right. And our friends, they are from Black Alliance in Advanced Carolina, but we also have information from the State Board of Elections about photo voter ID and what you need to do. So as that is now the law in North Carolina, want to make sure you get those resources, get that as you head out. Ms. Mitzi, come on through. Also, do you see that? The light is hitting everybody right there real beautifully. I'm sorry that it's in your eyes, but the light is beautiful through the stained glass. Come on.
I think they need some sunlight. That's what I think. You know, I know I just have a few minutes, and I feel like I could talk. Is that good? Okay, forever. There's so much going on. I have been involved in getting people registered to vote for several years. I've been into different communities. I've seen people who are suffering. I invite all of you to take a walk, drive through some of the areas that you haven't seen. It is time, and I'm very passionate about this, so if I tear up, it's because it's coming from here. It is time for us to get our hands dirty. Go see what people are living like. Hold your representatives accountable for what they're doing and not doing. We, last year when we were able to register ex-felons, which I thought was just tremendous. We were so excited. We pulled together a couple of groups. You Can Vote. I think League of Women Voters got involved in it. The sheriff got involved in it. We went into the jails. We registered people to vote. I remember a young man telling me he thought he would never have the opportunity to vote. An opportunity. Do you know how heavy that is? Well, guess what? Well, that changed. Now he will not have that opportunity to vote. Our power is at the polls. How our streets look, it's at the polls. I mean, do you hear me? It's at the polls. Our victory is at the polls. I was just at a neighborhood I had never been to this past Saturday, and it just broke my heart. See, because I live on this side of town. So I don't really have a reason to go on the south side of town. So I had the GPS just to find the location. And as I drove into that area, I'm like, oh my God. But these are good people. They can't help their circumstance. When their property is sold and bought by individuals who don't have them at heart, they can't take that $20,000 they got for their property and then move into a new home. They can't afford it. But see, the folks that we elect, they control a lot of the things that happens to these communities. So I will finish with that and just say real quick, the NAACP is nonpartisan. We knock doors and tell people to go vote. We don't tell them who to vote for. If you want to get involved, look up the NAACP, Common Cause. There's 150 nonpartisan groups. God knows I can't keep up with them. And this is one of them right here. And thank you for having this tonight. Thank you.
I couldn't have said it better myself. No matter how you vote, what you want to vote, we want to make sure all of you vote. We've got time, because we're getting close. It's 8 o'clock. We got time for one more person. Yes, come on up. And then we are going to turn it to our lawmakers, and then we're going to close it out. Because again, I would love to spend the rest of the night with y'all, but we cannot do that. So, come on up. That is true. That is true.
I'll be quick, but I'm Kay Brown, and I'm representing the Greensboro NAACP, and I'm thankful that Madam President invited us out. Everybody couldn't go to Boston, but, we're here. So one of the things that concerns me I get on a local level, right, we need to increase participation. A lot of the things that impacts us are local. And as we have the conversation about what's happening in our state, I would also say that a lot of us worked hard. Like my grandparents, I remember sitting with them as they voted, right? So I think sometimes we blame a people who have been beat down, lied to, taken advantage of in times where, y'all, in Greensboro, we're fighting against a parking lot over a grocery store in a food desert. We can't be there to fight on everything. We need people to think about who's donating to their campaigns that benefit from keeping us poor. Let's talk about, in the state of North Carolina, we are purple and we are gerrymandered so bad that even if every person of color showed up in Greensboro and we did all that we could, in Guilford County we did all that we could, we're still in an extremely gerrymandered state. So I will say, it's not about being partisan, but on some issues, we need to make sure our people know and understand that they gotta hold the line, right? And when you go into these spaces, right, I understand we all got to work together, and there are limitations to that. There are certain things and values that we hold dear that we really, I'll say, not just us, quote, marginalized folks need to hold folks accountable for, but people who have means need to also be holding their people accountable. And that's it.
Hello, hello. I'm coming to you from the back now. Look at that. I just move all around the room. We've got one note that we want to make sure. I think it's an announcement about our schools from school board member here. So come on up.
Good evening. I am T. Diane Bellamy Small, and I represent you on the Guilford County School Board, and I want to thank you very much for having me to serve. I'm at the almost end of my second term. A lot of things have been said, about issues in our community. But see, I represent the front end. What I mean by that is our children. And so if we don't educate our children properly, then we're not going to have them to be able to get jobs and have a quality of life in this community. That's important. I have made sure that High Point was not forgotten about as far as Guilford County schools. But I do need you. Our next board meeting is August the 15th. And I do need for High Point to come to the board meetings. We had our board meeting here in High Point in April. And we are having one in High Point quarterly because I asked for you. But I need for you to come. You helped to pass a $2 billion school bond. But I need for you to come and ask, will there be enough money by the time they get to the High Point schools? because I'm sitting there watching. It's sort of like watching an hourglass and the sand is getting out of it. Okay, and it's not because that the promise was not made, but things are costing more than what was anticipated when we first started, when we did the whole thing for the bonds in 2020. So you need to make sure, I mean, I'm doing all I can, but I need your power. You know, my philosophy has always been inform, empower, and engage. I have hands out here, and I'll just start handing them out. There are two things. One is talking about our volunteer opportunities. Please be in our schools. Some of our children, they need to see love. I'm not saying that the school doesn't love them, but there's more love that needs to happen. If it's no more than just saying, baby, you know, do you need a new pair of shoes? Or can I read to you? Okay, they need your love. The other thing is telling you, the other handout is about the open houses that are going to happen in the schedule. And also, as you know, we've had, because of after the pandemic, we stopped giving free and reduced lunch to everybody. So now you have to apply again to qualify. And so we do have students who don't have enough money to eat. So on the back of the form is where you can make donations. It costs $19.98 for a week for a kid. And we were able to, through the efforts of our vice chair and the community, we were able to wind up with a zero balance as far as paying all of the school lunches for last school year. So this is a new school year. So we need for you to be a part of that because a child doesn't need to come through the line and get a piece of fruit and a cup of water. No. And that's not what we want to have happen when they don't have the money to be able to purchase a full lunch. If there's any way that I can be of assistance, as you know, I raised sand about High Point in particular, but I raised sand about the conditions of our public schools. And no, charter schools are not public schools. They're being funded by public school money. And since I didn't call anybody's name, they don't need to get up and say anything. All I'm saying is be aware that public school money is being used to fund, and the same thing with the vouchers. So pay attention to that because that's draining money from public schools. But I'm not going to take any more time. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that we need to get our county commissioners to fully fund public schools on their end, which they did not do. And we need to get the state legislature to pass their budget. If by law, every other government entity is required to pass a budget by June 30th, then why not them? Thank you.
All righty, y'all. Thank you so much. Another round of applause for everybody who spoke tonight. Thank you very much. All right. We want both of your elected officials who are here tonight to have a chance to speak and respond to what they heard. We ask that everyone maintain a respectful environment as they speak and kind of respond to what they heard tonight. So first we'll have Representative Brockman and then Senator Garrett.
Thanks to everybody again. I appreciate the time to talk to everybody. I'm going to try to hold anything that I might have. I'm a very passionate person. Charter schools are public schools. Charter schools cannot reject any, excuse me, these are just facts. Excuse me, excuse me, there's some things that are called facts and there's some things that aren't. Charter schools have to accept everybody. They cannot decline anybody. You may think that because of what you're told. Private schools can reject folks. Charter schools cannot. They cannot. Those are just the facts. I'm sorry. And charter schools are public. These are just facts. Like this isn't anything that their charter schools are just, I don't understand this. Excuse me, please be, charter schools are public schools. And the reason why that we had charter schools is because 60% of African Americans in our traditional public schools were considered failing. Okay, this is why we started charter schools as a laboratory so we could see if there's a better way to teach kids. Excuse me, more than 60% of African American kids are failing in our traditional public schools before the pandemic. It was worse after the pandemic, and it's worse now because there has been learning loss after the pandemic. I hate that I'm getting caught up on this stuff. I would like to try to transition to something else. I'm vice chair of education through K through 12. I am also a conference committee person on the budget this year. I was a conference person on the budget 2 years ago. And what you have seen through my service is we have gotten money for High Point to start the High Point Collaborative. What the High Point Collaborative has done is it's encouraged nonprofits, mostly grassroots nonprofits, to work together with the money that they get to solve issues in our community. More than 27 nonprofits have gotten money, more than $10,000 or more, to work together to solve these issues in our community. 27 nonprofits. I don't know if you can name any other representative who has done something like that in the minority, and now right now we're in the super minority, that and then when this next budget comes out this year, you're going to see even more stuff, and I think that you're going to be very happy about the work that I have done to actually bring back resources. A young man talked about resources earlier, resources to my community, to this district that has never been done before. I have been on the front lines of that, and I am a deal maker. I am somebody who goes to Raleigh, and you're going to have to talk to me to get my vote. I'm not somebody that just gives my vote away. I'm not somebody that just votes away the Democratic Party or the governor or anybody who tells me to vote. My mom told me to use my own brain, and that's what I do. I use my own brain. You can come talk to me. I'm a transparent person. You might disagree with me, but you're going to know exactly where I stand. And I encourage anybody, I'm just going to end on this, Google our charter schools, public schools. They are, and they have to. Each state has different guidelines to what charter schools can do. North Carolina has their own guidelines to what charter schools can do. Google it. Thank you.
And we will have Senator Garrett next.
Good evening, everyone. That's pretty weak for High Point. I'm going to give you a do-over. Good evening, everyone. Much better. First of all, thank you for organizing and facilitating tonight. And I'm just overwhelmed with the passion of the community to show up on a Monday night in July to talk about the issues that are so near and dear to all of our hearts. I have represented Guilford County in the state Senate since 2019. I was part of the class that broke the supermajority that was able to sustain all 48 of Governor Cooper's vetoes. The North Carolina Senate sustained each one because we stuck together and we pushed back. And since 2019, it has been an honor and privilege to serve in the state Senate. We stopped some really bad ideas, some really hateful and racist legislation. We did a few good things, too. I was one of the lead negotiators on North Carolina's Clean Energy Bill, which puts North Carolina public utilities on a path to cut carbon emissions by 70% by 2030 and to be carbon neutral by 2050. We are the only state in the Southeast on that path. We also finally got past the small business enterprise zone that Guilford County has been fighting for almost a decade, which helps minority and women-owned businesses get contracts with governments and local governments easier. It's a pro-minority business and a pro-small business, and we were able to get that done in a Republican legislature. That was huge. But I have to say, this session has been not frustrating. It has been infuriating, and it has been heartbreaking. I have two young children. I have a Jack, who is 5, and Charlotte, who is 3. And one of the first vetoes that my Republican colleagues decided to override were the day after the Nashville school shooting. I was leaving Greensboro, and I was dropping my kids off at school, which I do if I'm here, because my wife gets to do it most of the time. But anybody that has had young kids, you remember what dropping your kids off at school is about. You get out of the car, you get them out of the car seat, you give them hugs, you kiss them, you hand them off to those selfless public servants that we call teachers. But that morning, those hugs lasted just a little bit longer, and that squeeze just a little tighter. And then you know what happened that doesn't normally happen? Those tears started rolling down your eyes because you're thinking of those parents in Nashville that will never have that magic moment again. And that day, we went to Raleigh not to close loopholes in our gun laws, not to make our schools safer, not to make not to try to combat the mental health crisis in our young people. What did we do? We went to Raleigh to override Governor Cooper's veto, abolishing the state background check system the day after the Nashville school shooting. Unconscionable. That was just the opening act. We've had bills after bills, hate-filled bills targeting the LGBTQ community, but in a particularly cruel way, targeting children, targeting trans youth. There's a special place in hell for people with that kind of hate in their heart. And they overrode they're not done yet, but almost every veto that had been issued by the governor in the last 4 years. They have brought those bills back and have shoved them through, and they have overridden his veto. And I fear the ones that we haven't seen will be tucked in this state budget that's being negotiated behind closed doors between leadership because they're arguing over where they're going to put their donors' casino, not how much we're going to pay teachers, because we're going to cut corporate taxes by $7.6 billion, but give teachers a 2.5% raise. Ridiculous. Absurd. What we are fortunate here in Guilford County is that we have a community, we have a board of commissioners, and we have a board of education that is picking up where Raleigh is falling down on the job. They are funding our schools, they are building our schools where they can, and taking care of our children where they can. But they can't do it alone. What tonight is really about, it is nonpartisan, but folks, I think I can say it because everybody knows what I am. This election is absolutely the most important election of our lifetime. We could have Governor Mark Robinson and a state Supreme Court controlled by Republicans and supermajorities in the House and Senate. If we don't do the work, lean in, talk to our friends and neighbors, and get them out to vote. We have got to get it done. Because people that believe all raise their hand that climate change is real. People that believe that public education is a right for our children. People that want people treated equally and with equity. People that think a woman's right to choose and make her own life choices should be hers and hers alone. We are the majority in this state. We are the majority, and we will win elections, we will take back power, and we will take back our state if we show up, do the work, and vote. I am here for you to do whatever you need me to do. We have knocked those doors together, Mitzi. We're going to do it again. We need more people knocking with us because this is a big county and it's a big city. And I'm here. I'm ready to do the work. You call me, you text me, you email me, and we'll go knock some doors together and bring the voters to the polls because we're the majority and it's damn time we take our state back.
All right, everybody having fun yet? You had a good time? I do want to make very explicit and clear for the record that we did invite all 4 lawmakers here tonight, and we did offer, including our friend from the other side of the aisle, the opportunity to share a statement, to explain or to share any about their work in the legislature. That did not happen, unfortunately, but we do have contact information here that we want to make sure that you save if there's something that you wanted to say tonight and that you want them to hear. At the very least, this is what democracy looks like, right? I'm sorry, who is what democracy looks like? You all. So, we very much appreciate you being here tonight. Another round of applause for our elected officials. Thank you. Both local and statewide, it can be very difficult to come up here and take a little bit of heat, and we thank both of them for coming and doing so, and I know that they're here if you have additional comments you want to make. On your way out tonight, please see Tyler Day with the gray magic box of mystery, and if you've got your questions on that index card, you've got cards that you filled out, please do return that to us on your way out. And again, thank you for being here tonight and sharing your opinions.